Hey guys, what's up? Today we're taking a look at the Omni Kit from Jet Blasters. This is an expansion kit for the Alpha Kit, and basically it allows you to downgrade your Alpha Kit to shoot full-length darts and half-length darts at lower velocities. Now because this is a sealed breech, you'll be able to put a scar barrel on the end of this and increase your accuracy with your full-length or half-length darts at those lower velocities. This means you'll be able to get extra accuracy at events such as End War, or anywhere that has a 130-ish FPS cap. Let's install it in the shell. Now the first thing I'll discuss that the Omni Kit includes is a looser barrel than the Alpha Kit has. This allows you to fire your full-length darts, and it also allows you to fire half-length darts at a lower velocity. It's the same exact length as the Alpha barrel, and it has the same threads, so you'll be able to put your scar barrel that you already have from the Alpha Kit onto the Omni Kit. Now something I've seen some other people try and do is they put the looser barrel on an Alpha Kit to try and restrict the FPS on that. Now that is a bad idea. Without reinforcing the shell in front of the plunger tube or padding the plunger head, you risk breaking the pusher. The reason for that is the looser barrel allows the air to escape a lot quicker, your plunger head's moving a lot quicker, you risk breaking the plunger head, you risk snapping the shell, and you risk breaking the pusher. So just don't do it, just don't do it. Trust me, from the results you'll see later on, the Omni Kit is perfectly fine and you don't need to use alpha with it. Now the observant among you may notice I have a metal catch. This is an artifact catch. Other than that, the rest of the internals are as you would have them. And the only reason I have this metal catch is because I was using a brass breech in this shell prior to the Alpha Kit. So the first thing you'll have to do is remove the Alpha barrel and screw the Omni barrel on. Pretty simple. As you can see, the Alpha barrel and the Omni barrel are both the same length. The Omni barrel is just a bit looser fit. Next step is to remove the plunger tube from the shell. Personally, I use the bolt from the pump grip to unscrew the end cap. And as you can see, I pad my plunger head. Unfortunately, these are basically one use only, but I've got a massive packet of them. They're basically just furniture leg protectors that protect your floor from being scratched up. Removing the plunger head, make sure you apply downwards pressure to not strip the screw. Remove the spring, remove the plastic end cap, and I don't think it matters which way on the metal one goes, just slide the metal one over in any direction. Now the included spring feels very similar to a Turf 8kg, it's even the same exact length as an 8kg spring. However, I don't know if this is the right terminology, but the coils are a thinner diameter, so this shouldn't take as much space to compress. And this is a requirement because the metal end cap has to screw in all the way, reducing the space you have to compress the spring. I have seen videos of people using 8kg or 10kg turf springs in this, but you do have to unscrew that metal end cap about one thread out, which personally I don't see the point in doing. So put the Omni spring onto the plunger rod, put the plunger head back on while applying downward pressure. You don't want to strip that screw, as I said before. As I said before, I like to pad my plunger head, so I'm putting another one of those felt strips on. And now I'm just going to re-lube the plunger tube, re-lube the plunger head, and put it all back together. Making sure to screw that metal end cap all the way in as far as it goes. Now let's install the Omni pusher. Grab something narrow. I used a small Torx bit and just pushed the pin out enough for me to grab it with a pair of pliers. Unscrew the Alpha pusher and screw the Omni pusher on in its place. Line the Omni pusher up with the bolt sled and put the pin through. Pretty simple. If you've put an alpha together before, you should know how to do this part. Now let's actually talk about the Omni Pusher. The Omni Pusher does not use an O-ring to seal. It uses a wedge to seal, similar to the older Explorer breeches. Basically what this means is when you prime your blaster forward after priming it, you need to hold it forward in order to maintain that seal when you pull the trigger. Another way to describe it is like putting a bath plug over the drain in a bath, except the breech isn't creating suction, so you have to actually physically force it in there to create that seal. In practice, all this means is I put a couple of fingers on the front of the shell, the rest are on the pump grip, and I just push it as far forward as I can. Reapply lube to the plunger cup. However, unlike the Alpha Kit, you don't have to apply any lube to the pusher itself. Very importantly, don't forget to remove the spacer like I did. Put the sled back in the shell, making sure that it lines up with the bottom groove. Put the plunger tube back in, and put your shell back together. That's all there is to it. Now, before I put the shell back together, I want to address a rumour that I've heard. And that is that this won't work in a standard long shot shell, because the spacing is different. The idea is that the Omni Pusher won't go in far enough to create a good enough seal in a standard long shot shell, because the spacing is different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw with a permanent marker a mark on the pusher, put it in the long shot shell and see if it lines up in the exact same spot. Lo and behold, it did, so I would hypothesize it's perfectly fine in a long shot shell. So there's no reason to worry about that. Now, putting this shell back together, let's head over to the chronograph. Now, on the way to the chronograph, I spotted a victim, and this is with a worker dart.
Did you even feel that?
Before even testing the FPS, it looks like this doesn't shoot very hard at all. First up, I tested some of Ashley's full-length FEJ darts. 100, 111, 106, 108, 101, 94, 87, 105, 114, 111, 106, 110, 126, 116, 125, 119, 122, duplicate 122, another 122, and that's it for the FEJ darts. I then loaded up a drum mag of standard elite darts. I think I only have about 7 total, so I had to go pick them up in between shots. My hypothesis is that these will shoot higher than the FEJs did. 130, 144, 136, 130, 151, 147, 134, 130. Oh no, that's out of darts. I need to come up with another word for when I'm out of ammo. $131, 130, 132, duplicate 132, 148, 140. Go pick these ones up. 122, 133, 146, 141, 136, 131. And that's it. Lucky I padded that plunger head. Now, here at Adelaide Nerf Wars, some of our wars are 130 FPS cap, so I'll actually use the Omni Kit with worker darts in those scenarios. Let's crony with worker darts. 116, 122, 116, 128, 120, 125, 126, 112, 116, 126, 115, 127, 113, 116, 118, and that's my full katana mag. Now, I have seen people putting stronger springs in the Omni Kit. 8kg turf springs, 10kg turf springs. I wouldn't recommend doing this. 1, you risk breaking the Omni Pusher. And 2, if you want higher velocity, use a brass breech. A brass breech will fire a lot harder, a lot more efficient, and it can do both full length and half length. However, something that a brass breech doesn't do easily is shoot this low velocity. And that brings me to, who is Omni for? Omni is for the person who has the Alpha Kit already, but wishes to be able to use it at something like End War or a full-length / streamline game, while reaping the benefits of having a sealed breech. Having a sealed breech allows you to put a scar barrel on for that improved accuracy. I personally will be using the Omni Kit as my indoors blaster for 130 FPS wars. I'll be using it with worker darts. I'll probably even put a red dot sight on it, because with a sealed breech and a scar barrel, you do get that kind of accuracy. But once again, if you are looking to use full-length darts at a really high velocity, definitely check out a brass breech instead of this. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the review.